why couldn't you save yourself? You know, was there any bitterness in reading that, or was it all just love and gratitude? I know that's a weird question, but...
No, it's not a weird question. Look, I have felt every emotion there is to feel.
Yeah.
I think it's a very normal thing in this situation to feel anger at some point towards the person. We had some rocky moments in his last few years because that's what you have with teenagers anyway. But
Right.
then when they're going through these acting out stages and all that.
Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Welcome back to All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and this is the podcast where we're turning obstacles into opportunities. And this podcast exists really because life has a funny way of reminding us that we're not nearly as in control as we'd like to believe. And that's what happened to me. You know, sometimes it's business, sometimes a relationship, your health. Sometimes it's a phone call that changes everything. But here's what I've learned. Resilience isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about deciding what you're going to do when life is not okay, when life hits you from the side. Every week we have conversations with people, or it's just me, who've lived through hard things and found something meaningful on the other side of that thing. Not because they're superheroes, because they're human. My hope is that today in this conversation, you hear something that makes you stop and makes you think differently and maybe take one little step that you've been putting off. We talk about that a lot, just one step. Today's one of those conversations. Today's guest is Stephanie Renner. Stephanie's an attorney, a keynote speaker, and the creator of the Regret to Resilience method, and you're going to see how brave she is in just a minute. For nearly 25 years, she advised CEOs, entrepreneurs, and organizations through some of their most difficult decisions. Then life handed her something that no amount of experience could prepare her for. She lost her 18-year-old son, Jordan, to suicide. Out of that unimaginable loss came an understanding that regret isn't something that's reserved for tragedy. Regret quietly follows us. It might be after a divorce, after a failed business, after a career change, missed opportunities. All the moments that we replay in our minds wondering, what if I'd done this? What if I'd done that? Today we're going to talk about regret. Regret, control, grief, the stories we tell ourselves, and maybe, just maybe, how we begin to start setting some of that weight down that we've been carrying around. So, Stephanie, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just excited to be here.
Look, I don't know how to articulate this, but I want to thank you for being so brave. Like, this is something that's totally unnatural. The parents outlive the kids, and you being brave and talking about it is huge. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. It's funny you say that about the unnatural part because, I lost my mom actually a year after I lost Jordan, and it's just weird to be in that space of things happened in the unnatural way first, and then the natural order happens, and you're like, not quite. I don't want to say I'm not as upset about it. It's just the emotions don't come the same way because of. It's just a weird place to be. That's all.
Yeah, I can imagine. And there's I'm sure you've heard everything under the sun about this. Everybody probably, since this happened, always wants to help, or they think they're being helpful. There's a Korean proverb. It's you lose a parent, you bury the past. You lose a child, you bury your future. So that's something that I've kind of been stuck on lately, and we'll talk more about that. But before we get into regret and resilience and all the work you've done and all this stuff and the things and how you can help people, I want to spend a minute talking about Jordan, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I'd love to talk about Jordan.
So that's what I was hoping for. When I was about 8, I was talking to my great grandmother, and she mentioned her husband, who I had never met. And so I started asking her questions. And I'm like an 8 or 9-year-old kid. And I was asking her questions. And at one point I stopped and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm probably making you sad." And she just smiled and looked at me. She said something that has always stuck with me. She said, "People who are loved, they probably really like to be remembered." So
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's remember
People are
Jordan.
often scared.
What's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I was just saying, like, people are scared sometimes to bring it up or to say his name, and it's more about their discomfort than it is mine, I think.
Yeah.
And they don't know that. I mean, I think they think they're protecting me, but any parent who's lost a child wants to talk about them. I can guarantee that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then who was he?
Okay. He was a and this is going to sound just like, a typical bragging parent, but an incredibly, incredibly smart child. He had this like voracious desire to devour whatever it was he was into at the time. So, we learn later in life, he likely was somewhere on the autism spectrum. So he would just get really fixated on something, right? So when he was little, it was Thomas the Train for a while, and then it was, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Beyblades or whatever little boys played with back then, and then Star Wars and, whatever it was as he got older. He loved politics as he got older. But he just wanted to like dump out all that information on you, whether you wanted to hear it or not. And he probably knew more about it than you. Very opinionated and very loving. He's definitely an empath. He kind of took on everybody else's feelings. And as he got older, I always say that he collected strays. And I hope that's not offensive to anyone that I say it that way. But
anything that comes out of your mouth can be offensive. So we'll stop worrying about that right now.
Okay. He seemed to attract people in his life who needed love and attention, and lots of kids from foster homes or kids who'd been kicked out of their houses for various reasons or whatever, and they would be sleeping in my basement. Sometimes I knew about them, sometimes I didn't. Some of these kids still hang around sometimes, and I learned that they would sneak out in the morning. I get stories about them sneaking out in the morning before I left for work, so I wouldn't see them. When his last few years, he went down kind of a rough path of some bad decisions, and some of those kids were making bad decisions too. But he just knew I wasn't going to turn anyone away, and so he offered up whatever we had, his home, whatever it was, to everybody always. And I still try to carry that spirit out. He struggled with his mental health pretty early on, probably at about 11. He started talking about suicidal ideation. So we went through a really long period of dealing with this. He had such a desire for no one else to feel this way, though. And at his memorial service, I had those cards that say, share your favorite memory of Jordan.
Yeah. And
I got them home and read them. And about 5 of them, at least, said either he saved me or he saved my child. And I got messages on social media when I started posting, like, if you have a memory of Jordan, if you didn't get to come to service, you didn't get to fill out a card. I got private messages that said very similar things from several people. So he took care of everyone.
Wow. Here's a question that I have to ask, and I don't feel good about asking it.
It's okay.
So I'm thinking, putting myself in your shoes, which I can't. I absolutely can't. But then you read that, and like, did you think, well, why couldn't you save yourself? Was there any bitterness in reading that, or was it all just love and gratitude? I know that's a weird question, but...
No, it's not a weird question. Look, I have felt every emotion there is to feel. I think it's a very normal thing in the situation to feel anger at some point towards the person. We had some rocky moments in his last few years, because that's what you have with teenagers anyway. But then when they're going through these acting out stages and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I have felt those feelings. I don't think I felt towards these kids, like, why did you get to live and my son didn't necessarily? Yeah. I mean,
I guess that's what I really wanted to ask. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it probably entered my head at some point, but that's just not who he was. So I can't, I, I can't have that thought process. Like,
Yeah.
my goal is to just honor him, and I know what he would want.
Yeah. What made him laugh?
Oh, really dumb things. I mean, boy humor that I
Farts.
didn't always get. Yeah, sometimes. He has a very smart sense of humor. So like he got into Family Guy at some point,
Ah, yes.
and became obsessed with watching those. He really liked, and he also liked dark humor. So he was very honest about his own struggles. And my sister and I now joke a lot if there's some thing that makes us laugh that's maybe inappropriate about death, or like I, I don't know exactly how to say it,
It's
but
okay. Just say it.
we know it would honor him. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like I know that he would laugh at some of the things that other people might be horrified by,
Yeah.
because you have to find humor in everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There is no humor in someone dying, but we did lots of laughing around my house in that week while we were getting ready for his service, and because that's just who he was.
Yeah. What's one thing the world should know about Jordan? Is that too hard? Like that? I mean, one thing is kind of.
No, I think it's that you have to be open. There's no shame in your struggles. There's no shame in talking about your mental health. And that's who he was. He never hid it. He never hid that this is what he struggled with.
Yeah.
He just couldn't overcome it. But it was about a moment in time. I mean, I listened to another podcast you did where you guys talked about the moment, how someone's mindset can change in a moment, right?
Yeah.
And he had a lot of those moments, and I wish he'd had more, because I think if we could have got him to, the age where his brain was fully developed and he wasn't so impulsive and those sorts of things, that this could have changed. But I think what people should know is that he struggled, and he was open about it, and he wasn't ashamed of it. And there's no reason for anyone else to be ashamed of it either.
Yeah. I would suspect that had something to do with those notes. Him being open about it and letting people know they're not alone.
Yeah.
I would think.
I agree. Yeah.
So we'll move on in your time. Is there anything else about Jordan that you want to share?
Well, I will say that, I do something in his honor. We talked about this a little bit before we started. Because he was so generous and kind to other people, I got this idea a couple of years ago. I had all his friends over for a Christmas party, and I made bags of his favorite snacks. He was very specific about snacks that he liked. And so, for instance, the red Doritos, not the blue Doritos, Swedish Fish, 100 grand bars. I mean, when was the last time you had one of those? I don't know. But yeah, Cheez-Its, Goldfish. He always had Goldfish crackers. So I put all these little snacks in a bag, and then I put in some other little trinkets that remind me of him. And I gave them to his friends. And I called them Gilly's favorite things, because his nickname was Gilly. And it went over so well that I just kept making them for people. And eventually I got a logo and formed a little nonprofit that's really kind of just a passion project. But I make these bags, and I will take them to the YMCA Safe Place, or we have an LGBTQ youth center here in the city that I take them to, because that's a group that he identified with. And sometimes I just carry them around in my car and give them to random people, and it brightens people's day. And I think sometimes it's that intervention of that negative thought process too. So
yeah. So that's pretty cool. Now,
yeah.
Important question here: the Goldfish, they do Flavor Blast or just regular?
No, regular.
Okay.
Very specific, regular. He did I don't know if you ever seen that they have s'mores ones.
Oh,
so he
yeah,
did those too. Yeah. He also liked the s'mores granola bars, the chewy granola bars.
Right. Okay.
But you can't find those everywhere. So when I have to order them in bulk on Amazon from some like third party seller to put them in these bags.
Going the extra mile for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure they love that, and I'm sure that I would suspect some of it is your memory too. I bet that's kind of healing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a fun way to keep a spirit alive.
All right, so you kind of chose one word about all this, regret. Did I read that correct?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
why regret? Like regret is strong, and to me, regret feels like I'm blaming myself. Why not grief or guilt? Like, why regret?
So, I mean, I don't know the answer to why not guilt because I think they're very similar. I just chose regret over guilt. For some reason, that word resonated with me better.
Yeah.
It's not grief because grief is its own thing and it's never going away. I don't believe grief is something to get over. I think it's something you carry with you. It becomes a part of you because it never really stops. You just learn to coexist with it and to either let it be. Stephen Colbert does an interview with Anderson Cooper where he calls it the gift you never wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So it is a gift. I mean, that's the only way I can look at it now. I didn't want it, but I have it now.
Right.
And it's my companion, right? So I don't see grief as something to solve. But one of the things that often comes with grief in particular situations is regret or guilt, especially when it's a situation that you think you could have changed the outcome of, right?
Yeah.
So with Jordan, because he struggled so long with his mental health and we did all the things that we thought we were supposed to be doing to help him, I obviously can go back and give you a whole list of what I call if onlys. If only I had done this. If only I had tried this. If only I had been there that day. If only I had, given him this thing, whatever it is. So that type of regret can just weigh you down and keep you stuck.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you have to get past.
Where grief is we're moving on, but we're grieving it.
Yeah.
And regret is the focus, like the focus behind you, and that's what forces you to go that way or stay stuck. Do I have that
right?
Close?
I think that's right. I don't know if regret and guilt come with every form of grief over death. But I think grief is so much bigger than death, right? Like you grieve a lost marriage, you grieve your business falling apart, you grieve a lost friendship, you grieve not getting to, people in serious accidents that change their physical abilities are going to grieve the life they had before. So I think those are the types of things that often come with the regret that I talk about, which is if you let yourself, you can just get stuck in asking what you could have or should have done to change the outcome. But the truth is, in most of these situations, you never had any control over the outcome. None of those one things would have changed it.
Yeah. And that can just spiral, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm skipping ahead, but how long did it take you to realize that? Like in your own, how long did it take you to, you know what, no matter what I did, this is the outcome?
Well,
or do you even realize that now?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say no matter what I did, this is the outcome. I know that I didn't control the outcome.
Yeah.
So I can't look at any one of those things that I've maybe beat myself up about and say, this is it. This is the one that I know for sure would have changed the outcome. Because it was never in my control. Right? So, look, Jordan died 2 years ago in this past May. So a lot of people, when I talk about these things, I think some people think, oh gosh, this is really soon. And maybe she hasn't really gone through her process yet or whatever. But I compare what happened to us to like having a child who has cancer.
Okay.
When you get that diagnosis, you know what the potential outcome is. obviously you're going to do everything you can think of, everything you know how to do to try to change that. And you hope that that's not what's going to happen. You hope to get, a remission or whatever.
Yeah.
But you always know in the back of your mind that that potential is there. And there's some grieving that starts, I think, in that time. And when a child is dealing with their mental health struggles as severe as Jordan was, and making these threats and talking about it a lot, of course I hoped we were going to find the solution, but I always knew this was a possibility.
Wow.
And that's not everybody's story, but so when I look back and say it's only been 2 years, it has only been 2 years, but this is not, I've been doing some of this work before that, I would say.
Wow, that's heavy. But I understand that in a weird way. Because you know that's the potential.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that conversation with another adult that took issue with that? That's kind of, it's a heavy thing. Like that could be a little bit controversial.
Yeah. I there are a couple things I say that are a little controversial. Yes, there are people who have different experiences and don't necessarily feel that way, or they weren't ready to admit to themselves. And I'm not criticizing that, because we all do what we have to do to survive, right? That's just life. So when you ask me when did I come to this, I wouldn't say I'm done with it, because I don't think you ever are. I just have developed some tools and a mindset to know how to get myself out of it, right? I'm going to have a day sometime. It could be tonight. It could be next week. It could be next year. I don't know. I have them all the time.
Could be all three.
It's where I get stuck and I start letting my brain go there, and I start thinking of all the things that I should have, could have done.
Yeah.
But I have come to a place where I understand that if I step back and ask myself these questions, like, is there any way you could know that this would change the outcome?
Yeah.
In what situation were you really in control of this? That doesn't solve it. It doesn't make the pain go away. It doesn't, but it gives me some freedom to keep going.
Right. Yeah. And you short of like physical restraint, 24 hours, there's no certainty there. There's no,
right.
So in a similar, so maybe this resonates with you. I went through a divorce 4 or 5 years ago. But I was heartbroken. Like it was devastating, and I became convinced somehow that I caused it. If I'd been better, if I'd communicated differently, if I'd worked less, if I'd worked more, whatever, and I forced it. And finally, I was doing the therapy thing, and my therapist finally said, "Jeff, you're giving yourself way too much credit. If you think you think you're responsible and you cause this and you can control people, then you're far more arrogant than you've ever let on," or something to that effect. He's like, "You're really arrogant if you think that you control that."
Yeah.
And it did me a favor. He said it. I think he said it out of frustration. He was kind of a dick about it.
Yeah.
But that sentence, it changed how I thought about it. So when we replay all of those only ifs, are we actually grieving, or are we hanging on to this illusion that we controlled something that we never really controlled in the first place?
Oh, I mean, that's it. That's absolutely it. I say that all the time. And I do think they're two different things. I think hanging on to the illusion of control and grief are two different things, and we sort of misdiagnose them, I guess. And we think that we're helping people with their grief when really we need to be, and this, again, this is in every grieving situation, but in these types of situations, it's two different things.
Yeah.
Yes, you can grieve, but you also have to understand what you could and could not control. And even for the things you can control, I mean, they're in the past, so you can't control them now.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And we can all sit and beat ourselves up about it, but how is that either honoring the person you lost or the experience you had? You know, when I got divorced, I had a very hard time moving on from this idea that I wasn't going to give that to my children because my parents had been divorced. And I thought I had done it all the right way. And I thought we had set ourselves up for giving our children something different. And I'm a very loyal person. So I was very fixated on this idea that we made this commitment and we're not following through on it. And, you know, and I also felt like it was negating what good experience there was. Like I had a hard time understanding how to take the good part with me.
Oh, right.
And leave the bad.
Yeah.
Right. But you can carry that experience, the good parts of it, and what the relationship taught you forward without getting stuck or just saying, oh, I have to get over this, right?
Yeah.
Like everything comes with you at some point.
Yep. Yeah.
But you got to decide what part of it comes with you.
And similarly to that, I don't know if that's proper English, probably not.
I don't know either.
Someone will correct me. So, and I've thought about this, like how much of this grief is grieving the person or the event? And in my case, how much is grieving the future you believed you were going to have? Because that was part of my problem. You know, like if I look back now, I was, you know, the person that I divorced, if I met them at a party, like I would run, you know, it just would, nothing in common. But I hung on to that marriage because of the life I thought I was going to have. Like with you, was there, how much of the future did you mourn? Not just losing Jordan, but losing, you know, the future birthdays, all the things. Does mourning a future?
You know, it's an interest. Yeah, no, it totally resonates. And it's interesting you asked that because it's something I've actually been thinking about a lot lately. I don't know that is what I mourned at first as much, but I find myself mourning it a lot more now. So I have another son, but it was just the two of them. And my other son Trevor is going to college this fall, and he's thriving right now. He's just an incredible human being. But as I think about his brother not being there to celebrate these things with us, and I was talking to a friend today about, she's created this Sunday family dinners, right? And so she's got 3 kids, and 2 of them are out of the house now, and she sets this time, and if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. But they know that that's what we're doing on Sundays. If you want to be there, that mom's going to have a home cooked meal, right?
Yeah.
And I've thought about doing something similar, but I can't say if not everybody shows up because there's only one, right?
Yeah.
Like I have those moments a lot of like,
yeah.
Oh, this isn't how I imagine this being in the future. And yeah.
Would it be okay to tell us a little bit about Trevor?
Oh yeah, I think so.
All right, so he's going to school.
I probably should start asking his permission about some of these things. But,
so we'll just keep it surface level. I just want to know about him. Like, so he's about to go to college. Yeah. What is it? Does he have any clue what he wants to do?
He does. This child has always been laser focused on something. It has changed once. When he was younger, he was going to be a chef. But anybody who knew him knew he was going to be a chef.
Okay.
And he was a very good cook. He at some point decided to stop cooking for me, but whatever. He developed an interest a few years ago in sports photography.
Okay.
And on his own, taught himself used all his money from his job. He's always been a very hard worker, worked since he was 14, to buy himself fancy camera equipment, watched YouTube videos. And his brother actually encouraged him to start an Instagram page and start putting his photos out there. And, I live in Louisville, Kentucky, so it's not a huge city. It's a decent size, though. There's a lot of high schools here, a lot of Catholic high schools with big sports programs. And he spends every night of the week during the school year at a different sport of some sort all over the city, because these kids contact him through Instagram and ask him to come to their games and take pictures. So he's going to U of L in the fall, and he already has an internship with the athletic department there. So he gets to do, major D1 ACC sports next year. So he's super excited about it.
Is he within yelling distance?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, right. You mean right now?
Right now, yeah. I mean,
no, he's not home right now.
Oh, okay. So,
but he would be. His room is on the other side of this one, but no. He would let you wouldn't be able to get him in this frame though. He's 6'7".
Holy cow! Oh wow.
He's a giant.
And
I don't know why. His dad's 6 feet and I'm 5'9". I don't.
What's his? Can you give us his Instagram handle, or is that a boundary?
Yeah, no, it's T Gilly Imagery, I think. I'm old now and I have to put on my glasses, my readers. TGILLY, T Gilly. Oh no, I'm sorry. Strike that. It's Trevor Guilford Media.
As you know, I've been coaching for a little over a year now, and my coach just laid something pretty heavy on me. They've challenged me to have 50 powerful coaching conversations booked within the next 30 days. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, maybe successful but unfulfilled, or you just need to talk something through with someone that you know will listen, then I would love to have that conversation with you. This is not a tactic. There's no sales pitch. It's just one powerful conversation. This is complimentary to you. So if you want in, send me a message and I'll send you the link. I got you.
Everybody's got that. Let's go give Trevor some love.
Guilford, GILFORD, Trevor Guilford Media. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
No, that's not a boundary. He'll take all the followers now.
Okay.
He used to come to me every time he got a new follower and say, "Who is this person? I don't know them." And now he has so many.
He just takes them. So. All right. So if you're listening, go follow Trevor.
Yeah.
All right. So sometimes we become absolutely convinced that we know what would have happened if I'd answered the phone, if I'd done this, if I'd said this, if I'd stayed, if I'd left, if I'd gone, whatever. We know, or at least we think we know. What would you say to someone who's listening right now that's completely convinced that changing one decision would have changed everything? Do we ever really know? That's a lot to carry.
Yeah. I think, one, I would challenge them to really dig deep about that and be honest with themselves if they do really know, right?
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, literally right before we got on this podcast, I was at lunch with a friend and she said something that I hadn't thought about, and I just said it to you a few minutes ago. What's in the past is outside your control by definition, right?
Right.
It's outside your control now. So if you focus on that at this point, you're just accepting that you're embracing suffering, basically.
Yeah.
And I doubt that is what you think would honor. So if we're talking about someone who died, I doubt that's what you think would honor that person, right? I don't think that person wants you to embrace suffering. And the same for so many other things. You're never going to be able to move forward if that's what you decide to carry around with you. And that's a decision. Again, You can't magically make it all go away all the time. I will never make someone think that I don't have those thoughts sometimes, but choosing to accept that I do not control that decision, outcome, whatever, or did not, is what helps me move forward. And if you, allow yourself to stay stuck on it, you are deciding that's what you want.
Yeah, you're embracing punishing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so true. Like, it's so true. You can choose, right? You can choose that you did have that control at that time, and it didn't go the way you wanted it to. So then you're choosing to your own punishment, or you can choose that, it unfolded how it was going to unfold, and there's no way to know if either of those are true. There's no way. And which one would you want to believe?
You said something about earlier controversial statement, and if I get pushed back on something.
Yeah.
So one of the things I say that some people find a little controversial is I didn't do everything I could.
Oh.
So one of the things that people say to you in their attempt to,
make them feel better
and grieve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is you did everything you could, and that is incredibly well intended. And I never am angry at something somebody says to me in my grief to try to help me. So I want to be clear about this. I'm not saying this to say, oh, you shouldn't say that to people. But it never really sat right with me. The whole you did everything you could, and it took me a long time to figure out why. But for me, that idea carried this implication with it. So what if I didn't do everything I could? Does that mean it's my fault? If I didn't do everything I could, is it now my fault that my child died by suicide? Because I personally believe no one does everything they can. Right. It's not possible. We are all selfish human beings at some point. We choose ourselves. And, a therapist would say you did everything you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time, blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true. But at the end of the day, what's tied up in this idea of whether or not you did everything you could is assigning blame. And I think we have to stop thinking about where blame belongs, period, in these situations. So that's getting back to if someone says, I know that I could have changed the outcome if I made this decision or this decision or this decision. That's because we want to place the fault on someone, whether it's us or someone else. We have to know who could have stopped this, right?
Yeah.
And what purpose does that serve?
Yeah, well, it gets down to like the basic pound of flesh. Somebody's got to be accountable, and that doesn't make sense. What about?
And so often,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just to say, for my little bit cheesy lawyer analogy here, what you're doing to yourself in that situation is you've become the prosecutor, defender, judge, jury, all the things, right?
Yeah.
You're just deciding it all for yourself. It's your fault, without ever really looking at the whole situation. You decide you got to look at one thing, and you're going to blame yourself, and you're going to convict yourself and torture yourself about it. And what purpose does that serve?
What purpose does it serve? Yeah. So I have a couple of things to add to that. I was listening to an Ed Milet podcast where, the people in that world are like, do better, one more rep, do this. And then you're like, well, shit, when's it good enough? Because you think about kids. What do we tell our kids in sports when they're 6 years old? Well, do your best. I have never done my best ever. I always could have moved a little faster. I could have turned a little quicker. I could have done something. No one has ever done their best. So you almost breed this constant disappointment of you could always do a little bit more. Always. But then when do you live? When do you stop?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, I've done okay. So what about this? Would you be okay with, you did what you thought was right at the time? Because I very few people wake up every day and go, you know what? I'm going to do the wrong thing today. That's what I'm going to do. We're all going to have
I guess I'm kind of okay with it. I don't think it's an untrue statement, but my point is I don't know why we have to focus on that, because it's still trying to say either it was my fault or it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. I
It
totally
just,
missed the point.
Yeah, like what's the point of a fault?
Right.
And when we can't change it now.
Well, I think human nature, there's some place where we want to relieve ourselves of the fault. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what we look for. Well, you did everything you could. Oh, thank God. Because I was thinking I didn't. Yeah.
But that also implies that we had control.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to send a message that I don't think people should be held responsible for bad actions or that, that's just not.
No.
I'm just saying when in our internal, personal, like self-blame.
That's it. Yeah.
Game that we play, what's the point? You have to take responsibility for your actions. Yes, you can't, you have to look at what you could control and you couldn't control, but the obsession with finding out whether you did all the right things or not so that you can say either it was my fault or it wasn't my fault, that doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah. I think the intent of that exercise is, how do I relieve myself of this guilt? Well, I did all I could. But then adversely is, well, then you think that you controlled this.
Yeah. So my pushback on the relieving yourself of it is, I don't think that's the way to relieve yourself of it. I think the way to relieve yourself of it is to understand that you never had control.
Yeah.
And that, the sort of next question that comes with that is, well, okay, if I didn't have control and no one of these things could have changed the outcome, then did it matter at all? Like, did all these things I did matter?
Right.
And what I say to that is yes, because your love or your worth is not measured by the outcome.
Right. That's what all high achievers struggle with, measuring their worth on the outcome. And is that something that you coach folks on?
Yes. Yeah. I do some individual coaching. My focus really is more on workshops and speaking, but yes, I do have a method that I coach people through on that.
Okay. I want to get your take on this. A lot of times people say, like, I'm going to call it spin it, for lack of a better term, and that's just from a lack of education. But they spin these things, these events, like, oh, well, I'm glad I had that sadness because now I know true happiness, or, there's no light without dark. And I'm not poo-pooing that at all, but sometimes that's tough to hear and tough to subscribe to that. Is that something that your experience changed, maybe how you think about that? Do you subscribe to that thought?
So nothing makes me crazier than everything happens for a reason. This idea that, look, God did not decide to, or the universe did not decide to, or whatever, like, take my son from me to teach me a lesson, right? Like, I don't, everything happens for a reason is bullshit, frankly.
Yeah.
But, I guess, could you know happiness without sadness? Probably not. Is there light without dark? No. That's very philosophical, right? I'm not going to look at any situation. I'm not looking at the loss of my son and saying, well, I'm glad that happened because now I know these things, right?
Now I know how bad I can feel. So
right.
Yeah.
Look, there is a reality to all of it. Something that's hard to talk about is that Jordan caused a lot of chaos his last few years, and our house was very tense, and Trevor lived in a house that was very tense, and he sort of retreated inside during that time, and the house wasn't that way anymore when it was over. And that's complicated.
Is that hard to say?
Right? It is. It is. It's hard. and that's as far as I will talk about it involving Trevor, because I don't want to ever put words or feelings or
Sure,
whatever
yeah,
into
that's
his
fair.
mouth.
Yeah.
But it's hard to talk about because I feel like someone's going to judge me for saying that sometimes. But I've just tried to get past that, because it's anybody who has been through this experience knows, they resonate with that. I've spoken to so many parents who've lost children to either suicide after a long battle, like after knowing that their child was battling with their mental health,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Addiction.
the kid has moved out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They've been through something really hard, and you're in this juxtaposition of two things can be true at once. I want him back. I would take him back even with the craziness, but he did cause a lot of chaos and tension, and that's because of what he was going through himself. It wasn't intentional. He wasn't doing it on purpose. It's just the reality of living with someone who's struggling with that.
Yeah. So do you feel some guilt then about feeling relief?
Yes, but I have worked on that and try not to
Yeah.
let that consume me, because it's just reality. It's how it goes.
I wonder if like you could, or somebody says, hey.
I'm not crying, by the way. This is actually, my eye is irritated.
Yeah, I'm not crying. You're crying.
No, really.
I mean, it's almost like, could somebody give you permission to say, hey, it's okay to feel relieved? I mean, I can imagine.
Well, so I'm going to share this. I don't know that I ever thought I would share this publicly, but you've said it. So, you know, I found him, and when he died, and my Trevor was with me. He did not see him. He just saw me see him. And so we found ourselves on our front porch, waiting for the paramedics to come, even though, I mean,
Yeah.
he was gone already.
Yeah.
And I said to my son, whatever you feel right now is okay, even if it's partially relief.
Yeah.
Because it was the culmination of a lot of chaos in our house. And I can't imagine being a teenager having to process all that. But
No.
again, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm telling you what I said. I don't know what he felt. I just know that is an inevitable feeling that can come up. And it's part of the many feelings that I felt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of this conversation we could stay stuck on for a while, and I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm always happy to talk about it. I just don't want to take the conversation down a road you weren't planning, or that
No,
it's not part of what you planned for your podcast.
Fine. I mean, you know, I'm putting like how many times did you come home thinking that's what you would find and you didn't?
Oh,
you know,
more than I could count. And he's, and again, we talked before we got in here about, you don't talk about method because of a variety of reasons, like suicide prevention training programs will teach you that. But the method he chose is one that he was sort of obsessed with. And so not only did I just envision what I would find, like I knew exactly what I would find one day if it happened. I did not believe it was inevitable to happen. I actually thought we were turning a corner in the few days before it happened, but which seems to be that's a story a lot of people tell.
Is it a theme? Is that kind of the thing?
Yeah. But yes, I had imagined it many times, and I had woken up in the middle of the night and gone and checked on him in his room and imagined it. I mean, lots of times.
Like walking
And
down the hallway.
That particular morning I was looking for him and couldn't find him for a long time. And, you know, it was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I suspect middle of the night you go look for him. I would imagine that what's going through your mind is, what am I going to do when I find him? What am I going to do when I
yes.
find him?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Thank you for being so brave.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me to tell the story. And I think I just think it's so important to talk about it because, one, other people experience it and need to not feel alone. But two, we just have to remove the stigma of talking about mental health and these types of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to give a plug here for 988 real quick while we're on that. You know, I have a good idea of why it ultimately happens. To some people, this is probably more my demographic, older males, is that you don't want to bother anybody with it. You don't want, you got to be tough. You got to handle things on your own. People around you are successful and things are going great for them. You don't want to bother them with your bullshit and your nonsense. And then when you do reach out, people are busy. But I just want to say 988, that number, those people go to work every single day with one mission. And that's to answer the call for someone that needs to make it. That's what they're there
Absolutely.
for. So
and I put 988 magnets in the Gillies Friends bags, by the way. And I know that Jordan used 988 numerous times over the years. He also used the Trevor Project hotline that is specifically geared towards LGBTQ youth. But I say all the time that I'm grateful for everyone who kept him here one more day.
Yeah. One more
So,
moment.
do I wish he could have been here longer? Yes. But I'm also grateful that there are those places and people who kept him here longer than I otherwise would have had him.
Yeah. I have something just out of curiosity. I want to touch on this. So I have degenerative heart disease. Like it's inevitable. But I still work out. I stay fit. I do things contrary to what I'm supposed to do. And oftentimes when I tell people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, but you look so fit," which is almost infuriating. So when I looked at Jordan's at graduation, his picture, like he looks happy, but it's a photo. And you hear that all the time. Like there's that kid at UNC that just killed himself and his nickname was Happy. I think it was UNC.
That was UK.
Kentucky. Okay. Oh, well, okay. Yeah. There you go.
Down the street. Yeah.
I mean, one, why do we say that? Why would I say to you, "Oh, really? Well, he looks so happy in his picture." But two, what did we miss? I don't know what I'm trying to ask you. Well, I guess, does it piss you off?
No, it doesn't. I think this is why it's important to have a conversation because people, they think that. So, for instance, when I was a kid, and granted, Gen X, we grew up very different, right?
Yeah.
But I remember telling my mom I was depressed about something, or I was feeling depressed, and she says, "What do you have to be depressed about?" Right?
Get your shit together.
Right, because. And, I was, by the way, using depression I was using the word wrong too back then because I wasn't experiencing depression at the time. I was sad. But that's the problem. We equate sad and happy with mentally healthy or not mentally healthy.
Right.
And that's not what it is. You can be perfectly happy on the outside and seem happy to the world. And that doesn't, maybe you're putting on a mask, but I don't think it was a mask in that. I mean, the picture you're talking about, I know what you're talking about. And it was a huge accomplishment for Jordan. That child should have been at Harvard. Okay. But he, in his last 2 years of school, decided he didn't care and wasn't going to do anything. And we barely got him across the finish line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so much so that his name was in the program.
Wow.
Like, it happened so last minute. So
Yeah.
it was a big accomplishment, and he was super happy that he had done it and very proud of himself. So he was happy. And there were lots of times when he was happy. His friends send me videos and things all the time, and they're not necessarily the videos Mom wants, because half the time he's smoking weed or something in them. But there are these videos where they're driving around and they're singing, and he's dancing for everybody, and he was like everybody's sort of mascot. Like, they adored him. And I love that. I love seeing that. That doesn't tell what was going on the inside, but I also don't think it was going on in that moment.
Right. Yeah. It's not, because it's not all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to switch gears just a little bit, maybe try to have a little, not fun with this. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, you can have fun.
That's okay.
So don't overthink it. I have a few questions. I think you have important things to say. Just first instinct, like 1 to 3 words. I have like 4 questions.
Okay.
What's one thing that people think is far more important than it really is?
Formal education.
Okay. And then what's one thing that people don't realize is incredibly important that maybe they don't think it is?
Time spent with people face to face.
Yeah. Something people wait far too long to do.
What they want to do.
Yeah. What is one thing, if we could ask Jordan, what's one thing that you know now that you didn't know then that he would say, yep, now you get it?
That his acting out was a part of his struggle. They didn't want to be making the choices that he was making. And you said one thing, I'm going to add another.
Sure.
And I know this, and you don't think I'm crazy, but I had a medium say this to me. And it resonated so much because I know it to be true, that he did not think that he was capable of being an adult. Like, he didn't think he had the skills. He didn't think he was ever going to learn how to do that, how to function in the world.
So maybe there was some fear in there also.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
He told me a week before that he thought it was too late for him to learn how to be a normal person.
If somebody's listening right now and they're like, yeah, that all sounds great, but Stephanie, you're full of shit. This is bullshit. This all sounds nice. Mine's different. You don't understand. I'll never get past this. This is too heavy. You get one thought, one sentence, one place for them to begin. Just one place for them to start to try to lighten that load. What's one thing you'd tell them?
I would say to step back and start with one, what I call if only, one thing that they're beating themselves up about, and have an honest assessment of whether there's any guarantee that would have changed the outcome.
And by guarantee, what do you mean?
Like, for sure that would have changed the outcome.
With unwavering
certainty. Can tell you, yeah, like you can prove it, right? Like, I can give you a whole list of things that I believe would have changed the outcome. But like, I also did all these other things, right? So, and they didn't change it. So right?
They could have been on that
But
list too.
you
Had you
have
not,
to be,
yeah.
you have to be ready to be honest with yourself, though. I mean, like,
Oof.
if you want to wallow, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way, I'm not right, but
Yeah.
if that's what you want, then you will stay there.
Yep.
If like you want to stay stuck, and sometimes I don't judge someone if that's what they feel like they need to do right now.
Yeah.
We all do what we have to do, right?
Yep.
But if what you want is to move forward, and I don't say move on, by the way,
Right.
because
Yeah, I noticed that.
I think people resist that. I think when you tell a parent, especially who's lost a child, you need to move on, well, no fucking way. I'm not moving on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I will move forward and take this with me and honor him. But I think that's the same, like I said, in your lost marriage or business or whatever it is, whatever was good or real or whatever, you can still take that as a part of who you are now.
Yeah. Do you think having another kid helped you?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know how to ask that. Sorry. I mean, you obviously picked up on it.
Yeah. I mean, I know the answer, and I don't know. I have people say to me all the time, I don't know how you do it, or I couldn't do it, or whatever. And I know I said that to people before too.
Yeah.
And I would say I think that I would never say it to someone, but I think that in my head, if someone was the only child, or I know a mother who's lost 2 children, they're her only 2 children, one to suicide and one to a tragic accident. Like,
God.
yes, I believe that Trevor is part of why I kept going and knew I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
I hope that I could find the same resolve. I'm lucky to have an amazing support group of family and friends, but I get it. I get if someone feels like it's a bigger burden or whatever. I always say grief's not a competition.
Right. Yeah.
Someone has it way worse than I do.
For sure. Yep. Stephanie, thank you. Thanks for not just being here today, but also, like I've said a couple of times, for being brave and your willingness to remember Jordan with us, and for turning like this, a deep tragedy into something that gives people hope, or gives people at least.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Where can people find you if they want to?
So I just got tongue tied. My website, you can go to regrettoresilience.com, or that's going to redirect you to stephanierennerspeaks.com, because there's another Stephanie Renner who has stephanierenner.com apparently. So stephanierennerspeaks.com. And I think you're going to put in the show notes that there's a specific link that'll take you to a resource where the steps of the regret to resilience method that I develop are outlined, and there's some questions to sort of guide you through that if you want to start that process.
Yeah, and that's a PDF that people can download, right? That framework?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And on social, any place they should connect with you? Instagram?
Oh, yes.
LinkedIn?
I'm sorry. I'm on LinkedIn, Stephanie Renner. Instagram, it's SRRND, like Notre Dame ND, because that's where I went to law school. That's where the handle I have from a long time ago. I'm on Facebook also, and TikTok. So.
And Trevor Guilford Media. Don't forget.
Yes.
Go check him out.
Thank you.
All right. If today's conversation resonated with you, then I have a favor to ask. Don't just think about it. Do something with it. Maybe somebody needs to hear this. Maybe it's making a phone call that you've been avoiding. Maybe it's forgiving someone, or asking for help, or just tell somebody you love them. Tell them you believe in them. Because, man, when somebody believes in you, it feels so fucking good. In action, it changes people. The intention does not change people. So if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, share the episode with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you know someone whose story could help others navigate life's hardest moments, send them our way. Until next time, I absolutely cannot wait to see you. And remember, you can't control what happens to you. You can only control what you do next. This is All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.